All right. Salute, salutations to the militia, to ManikAsylum, to all my supporters, to everybody on YouTube. Salute to everybody, man. You know, Manik. I love everybody until they do me wrong. What I want to talk about today is a sweet young lady named Nicole from a channel called Real Talk Recovery. And I'll leave the link in the description. It inspired me to do a video for the people that are out there struggling with drug addiction and whatnot. Okay. There are, as many people may or may not know, there are different methods to getting off of opiates. And opiates, we have an opiate epidemic, and opiates were my issue, so that's what I'm going to talk about. Opiates, for those who don't know, is anything from heroin down. We got heroin, we have Oxycontin, all the way down to Tylenol 3 and codeine, with the codeine in it. It's all opiates. Fentanyl, carfentanil, opiates, synthetic opiates, I believe, though. Anyhow, I struggled with painkiller addiction that moved on to heroin. As my father did, and as my stepfather did, as he OD'd from heroin. My mother, my grandmother, and my aunt my aunt was, she's passed, on opioid painkillers. My mother and my grandmother on opioid painkillers. We do have an epidemic of sorts, most certainly, and a lot of people have trouble. A lot of people have trouble getting off of the shit. And I want to talk about my experience with the way that I am or have worked on coming clean. There are other methods to doing this. One method would be to try out what is called ayahuasca. They say that could help. Maybe even DMT. Maybe even microdosing psilocybin mushrooms. Maybe even microdosing LSD. I don't know. But I do know that ayahuasca is one of the things that they have said has cured people of their addictions and their depression, no less. That's a little far-fetched because it's very expensive to go out and do it, and it's very hard to get. At least for me it is. Now, if you want to go the other route, the doctor route, you have a choice, basically. Two choices: methadone or Suboxone. Okay. Now, I went on methadone for quite some time, and methadone was far worse. Yeah, I don't want to say worse. It was just as bad as being on any of the other things. Stay away from methadone. It's not going to help you out. Suboxone is what helped save me. Okay, people can stigmatize Suboxone and say whatever they want to about Suboxone and say it's a trade-off or whatever, and it is. If you treat it like a trade-off, it is a trade-off. However, Suboxone doesn't necessarily get you high. You can't really get high off of Suboxone, and that's what I took, for 5 years. I have been on Suboxone. Probably about a few months ago, I decided well, probably about a year ago, I decided it's time to start tapering. I didn't work up the nerve to do it until, I want to say, maybe 3 months ago, and then I started trying to wean myself down. I started on a 24 milligrams a day of this Suboxone, and I ended up moving to Subutex, which is the same thing. What Suboxone is a strip that you put under your tongue, and it has two things in it. It has buprenorphine that will keep you from detoxing, and it has naloxone that will keep you from getting high from opiates. Subutex comes in a tablet, and it doesn't have the naloxone in it, the blocker to block the other things for you. So I'm just saying this for the people that may or may not know exactly what these drugs are and what they do. I'm going to get into meat and potatoes of this in a minute here. The Suboxone can save your life if you have the right intentions. It can't even really hurt you if you got the wrong intentions either. I mean, you can OD on this stuff if you mix it with too much of certain drugs, but this drug plateaus. Like, you can take this drug and you can take it, and there will come a point to where it will plateau and you will no longer be able to get high. Or high, you can't get high off it anyways. You won't be able to feel anything extra because it does give you a subtle, very, 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 very subtle feeling. Nothing compared to a blue, a Roxy, an Oxy, heroin. Nothing fucking compared to that. It's just like taking a fucking vitamin in the morning, really, to any addict. However, it keeps you from detoxing, and detoxing is the worst part. That's what we fear. We all have lives, and especially if you're somebody that has a job or something like that, the last thing you want is to take 2 weeks, 3 weeks off of work to detox, and then you're still not going to be right for another few months. I kicked methadone in jail. And I was on 165 milligrams a day, and I kicked methadone in jail along with benzos and alcohol. It was the most torturous thing that I have ever been through in my entire fucking life. Just physically to myself. It was the most torturous thing to come off methadone, cold turkey, in jail, also coming off of benzos, also coming off of alcohol. It was horrific. It was terrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. I was hallucinating. Don't even get me into it. This happened in jail. I got out of jail and I went right back to my old bad habits. Now let's talk about Suboxone. Suboxone is a process. You go to a doctor, okay? Anybody that's listening out there that has an opioid problem that somehow, some way doesn't know about Suboxone or how to go about doing it and getting it. You go to a doctor and then they do a test on you to find out if you got the other drugs out of your system. Because if you have opiates in your system and you take this drug with the naloxone in it, the strips, you will immediately detox, and you will completely detox immediately, and you will be in the worst misery of your fucking life. What people don't understand about opioid addiction is that it is unbearable. That's why people have trouble coming off of it. It is opioid withdrawal is absolutely fucking misery. It's hell on earth, and that's why so many people can't get off of it. It is one of the worst feelings that you could imagine in your life. You want to jump out of your skin. You want to claw your fucking eyes out. You can't. You got restless leg syndrome. Fucking and mentally, it's just as bad psychologically. So I got on Suboxone, and I was on it for a good solid 5 years. I started out at a very high dose, and I ended up going down to 2.5 pills a day. So that would be 20 milligrams a day. There's 20 milligrams a day. I had a moment. 20 milligrams a day. And my doctor kept me on that for quite some time. The thing about it is that my doctor would have kept me on it. My doctor would have not stopped. She would have kept me on it my entire life. So I made the decision to come off of it by myself and not tell her a fucking thing. So that's what I did. So I started stacking these pills up and cutting them into small pieces, and I started to taper off of them. So I've gone from now what was 20 milligrams a day, within the matter of a month or two maybe, I have gone down to 1 milligram a day, maybe 2 milligrams a day. And I'm getting closer and closer to breaking free of those addiction chains. You can say whatever you want to about addicts, but the initial use is their decision and their fuck up. The initial uses, partying and doing them and this and that, taking them here and there. Once you get locked into it, it's game time. It's not gonna let you go. It's gonna grab a hold of you, and it's not gonna let go, and it's gonna torture you and torment you. And this is the reason why we have an epidemic, is because people can't get off of these things. Now, there might be some people out there that are against Subutex. Take a sip of my beer while I talk about recovery. I'm only having one tonight. That's another thing. In AA and stuff, they say you can't do anything. Like, don't do nothing. Which, it makes sense. It does make sense. To go not cold turkey, but to go off of everything. Don't drink. Don't do none of that shit. But that's not me. I mean, I can still drink and shit and not fucking do opiates. Opiates are Subutex. It helps save my life, and I want to urge each and every person that is dealing with anything, even the people that are taking it just for pain, because Subutex can also work as a painkiller. It can also kill your pain, okay? But it won't give you that feeling. And most people that have been taking it for a long time, they don't even get the feeling anymore. You know, they would have to take fucking 10 of them to get any kind of feeling. Coming off of opiates is one of the hardest things to do. It's very, very difficult. It's very painful. It's very tormenting. And you need a strong support group behind you. You know, I'm not perfect. There's been plenty of times I've relapsed. And there's been times I've relapsed off of other drugs too. just to chase a high, you know. And some of those relapses were the darkest times of my life, especially the ones with amphetamines. Amphetamines are evil drugs. Opiates, I don't think opiates like should be like banished or anything like that, because there are cancer patients, there are people that need very, very strong painkillers because they are in a lot of pain. But there are a lot of young people that are getting hooked on these things. So I'm down to about 1 milligram, maybe 2 milligrams a day, and I'm coming off of them slowly, very slowly, and it's been working. I haven't felt bad. So I want to reach out to each and every person that might be dealing with this and say, listen, don't listen to anybody that says Suboxone is just a replacement. It's not going to help you. It's much easier to taper off of Suboxone than it is to taper off of an actual pill, because if you're or heroin, because if you're taking those things, you're just going to want more. You're just going to want more. Bottom line. If you take something that's not going to give you that fucking euphoric, I'm floating on a cloud feeling, if you're taking something like that, you're gonna you're gonna want more. I mean, it's you're gonna want more. Suboxone is a very good drug, and there's not a lot of drugs that I agree with that are in the drug companies, but Suboxone is a very good drug, and it has helped a lot of people that I know. And again, I will say this video was inspired by Nicole from Real Talk Recovery. And I urge anybody that has an addiction problem or knows anybody with an addiction problem to subscribe to her and check this video out. Share this video with them. It is possible, and we have gotten to a place now where you don't have to quit cold turkey. You don't have to just stop. You can ease off it comfortably, and it's not misery. You know, you can do it. If I'm doing it, if I'm in the middle of doing it, you can damn sure do it. People in my family like to say I'm a strong person, and I don't know why they say that. I'm not that strong. I have fallen to and submitted to opiates for a long time, and drugs in general for a long time. So you have to understand that there are right ways and wrong ways to go about doing things. You know, if you are an opiate addict, you know what that feeling is. Detoxing from that. You don't want that. You can if you're a tough motherfucker, and you gotta be a tough motherfucker, believe me. If you're a tough motherfucker, you can quit cold turkey and just shake it out for fucking 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I can promise you one thing, you're not going to be right in the head for a while. It can cause depression. See, those opioids, they bind to the opioid receptors in your brain, and once those are taken away, your brain forgets, or it doesn't realize it needs to create those on its own now. So the best way to do it is to taper off with something like Suboxone. not methadone, because methadone will fuck you up. You know I keep going back to Mike, my stepdad, but he could have been saved. He was on that heroin shit. All he had to do was make a doctor's appointment. That's all he had to do. And I should have helped him. And I didn't. I didn't. You know? And that's a feeling that I will never shake. That I did not help him when I could have and should have. I don't know if you've ever seen the rat park experiment, but the rat park experiment is it's a scientific experiment that they used for rats. With rats, they put them in a cage, just a cage. I think it was a glass cage, maybe. They put one bottle with cocaine and heroin in it, one bottle with regular water. Almost all the rats died from overdosing. And there was another scientist that said, wait a minute, why don't we try something else? And then what he did is made a rat paradise. He gave them, it was co-ed, so, you know, there was plenty of fucking going on between the rats. They had their little toys to play with. They had everything a rat would ever desire in this place. And do you know that almost none of them even went to the drugs after they tried it? After they tried it, they all went back to the water. They felt like they didn't need anything. I think that says a lot about our social climate and the way things are in the world today. It says a lot. You can very easily conflate that to the human condition. Pardon me. You going in or out? I was gonna do this live, but nobody's been showing up to my lives lately, so I'm doing this shit pre-recorded, man. Fuck y'all. But listen, man, it's not the end of the world. There's an out. There's a way out. And the thing I got to say to people that are dealing with people with an addiction is to try to convince them to do this. I mean, it's not hard. Listen, the worst part of it is the first 2 or 3 days that you have to go clean. You gotta go cold turkey, like maybe 1, maybe 2 days. You have to go in there detoxing and withdrawing, because if you don't, it's gonna throw you into a fucking mad, crazy detox that you do not ever want to feel. I don't know why they do that, because they can do that. They don't have to do it that way, but they do it anyways, because there is Subutex without the naloxone in it. I'll end it with this. People with addiction problems, drug addicts, they're very, very stigmatized. But a lot of them are just lost souls. They just want out. They don't like the way the world works. They don't feel like they fit here. They don't feel like they belong here. They feel alone. They're lonely. They're upset, sad. Maybe something happened in their past. You don't know. Don't judge these people. These are people too. They're just going through a problem. Right? Don't down them. Help lift them up. And tell them that there is a way that they can get their life back. And they can take their life back away from this just relentless addiction that has gotten so bad is being called a disease now. And you know, I don't know if we got newcomers here or not, but I don't call it addiction up until a certain point. It eventually becomes, I'm sorry, I don't call it a disease until up to a certain point. You know, at first it's a choice. You're making a bad choice. You're making a bad choice. You're making a bad choice. But once your body gets hooked on that, you can consider it a disease, because it's a disease, not even a disease, a psychological disorder even, you know. Call it what you want. It doesn't really matter what fucking label you put it under. There are people suffering out there that need this help. Give Suboxone a try. My doctor moved me to Subutex. It doesn't have the blocker in it because she trusts me. I'm no longer going to see the doctor. What I did was I stocked up for a while because I was cutting down anyways, and I just stopped going to the doctors, and I had plenty of the medication, and I broke it down and I tapered off of it. Now I'm at the end of it. I'm at the ass end of it. And I really am a little nervous, but we'll see how it goes. You know, no matter what, I've gotten down to a very low dose, and I'm doing good, and I'm surviving, and I'm alive. Heroin hasn't killed me. Opiates haven't killed me. Fuck, nothing has killed me. And trust me, I've had a lot of fucking near deaths. There's my lovely wife. She is a ray of sunshine. So I'll end it there. I really wanted to do that, and hopefully this video can get out. If you could, kindly share the video, especially with people that you know are dealing with an addiction, or that you know somebody that is dealing with somebody that is dealing with an addiction. Do me a favor. Yes. Anyways, please do me a favor and hit the like button. Share the video, and all my support links are in the description. And as always, Manic Militia, stand the fuck up. Salutations. I love all you motherfuckers. Peace out, y'all.